All right. Yeah, they said first. We're on the draw with some RUG Delver. We have a couple lands, a Bauble, two Vision, Snapcaster Mage, and Dismember. I'm pretty sure I'm willing to keep that. Yeah, that seems fine. We're probably going to Shock to cast a Serum Visions here. It's pretty unlikely we want to cast Dismember on turn 1. Mishra's Bauble should help at least somewhat to smooth out our draws, or rather just have us go through our deck more quickly. We do have... Oh, Inkmoth Nexus. Okay, that could be bad. This looks like Affinity. I don't know why the art's not there when we're not zoomed in. Is this a thing? Ornithopter's here. So's Vault Scourge. We drew another land. Not ideal. I actually kind of want to hold up Dismember, but I think Dismembering after we take a hit is fine. This is actually a fairly slow start out of Affinity. Only 3 permanents on the board. Of course, given that they kept, they're probably going to flood the board next turn, but Dismember should be enough to keep us somewhat safe. I think really we need to start on Visions. I actually wouldn't mind using Bauble here, just to see if we should fetch or not. Lightning Bolt on top. Okay, then we're going to play a Misty, have our red source, and just pass the turn. I very much like drawing Lightning Bolt here. Our win percentage, seeing that Lightning Bolt, basically shot through the roof. I mean, we're not in an awful spot, having some cantrips, a Dismember, a Snapcaster Mage against Affinity, but we are very slow, and we have very little interaction here. Lightning Bolt means we can bolt something. Here's a Steel Overseer. We're probably going to bolt that. Actually, it's probably better to just bolt the Vault Scourge, and then we can untap, Dismember the Overseer. Yeah, I like that. I suppose we may as well get a Stomping Ground, have double green. We're definitely going to pay Shock. Actually, do we just let Vault Scourge live? We could bolt Overseer, in which case we should have gotten a Steam Vent, so we could go double Visions. Do I actually want to bolt the Vault Scourge? Because, I mean, it's not a threat unless it gets big. We're probably going to end up having to kill it anyways, though, so I think I'd rather have the 1 point of life. If we top deck another Lightning Bolt, I'm going to be beyond ecstatic. It's a Bauble. I believe we do cast that one. However, we're not going to let them untap with this Overseer, so even if there is a Bolt effect on top, don't think we're going to go for it. They could always just animate each of these lands, activate the Overseer with the Bolt on the stack. This is a 2-2, this is a 2-2, this is a 1-3, and we're not in a great position at that point. Then again, that's their entire turn, but still. Think we want to take out the Overseer before it gets to tap. Don't know if we want to look at anything with this Bauble before casting spells. There's no reason to look at what we're going to draw off of Visions, unless it's a Lightning Bolt, actually. We should just play Visions first. That's just correct. Forked Bolt. Oh. Mandrill's going to have to be on top because we're going to need a clock. Don't think we need the 4th land here. I really want a Forked Bolt, but at the same time, I would have loved if we could have gotten a 2-for-1 with this. We probably... I mean, there's a non-zero chance that they're playing Thoughtseize, and I don't want them to be able to take Mandrills. So I think we're just going to Bauble them now. Signal Pest, sure. That's something I wouldn't mind snap bolting, actually. Oh, if we could make Snap Forked Bolt good, I would be the happiest person on this planet. We're going to take one, that's fine. Yep. Okay, we're going to draw Mandrills. We're going to draw something else. It's a land. So in this spot, I don't think we're going to go for Snap Forked Bolt. Worst comes to worst, we'll dismember something if they have a crazy turn. Currently, I think I just want to get this Mandrills on board. If we do Snap Forked Bolt, we get to take out the Signal Pest, which is definitely good because Signal Pest, Ornithopter, and Blink Moth are probably coming at us next turn, which is going to be 3 damage, but 3 damage isn't huge. Every turn that they keep their board with the Signal Pest, though, is worse because that's another turn they have to draw Ravager. And once they draw the Ravager, we start to get into worse shape. So I also kind of want to just deal with as many artifacts as I can as quickly as I can. I think I might just fetch out a basic forest here. We also might not use this fetch for a little while, but we're probably going to end up using the mana. I want a Visions, I want a Mandrills, and I want to have mana up. I could get a Steam Vents, that's not bad. I also don't want to take a lot of damage, though. Oh, Magic's really hard. Which of these lands do we play? I think the Breeding Pool is fine. If we're playing Breeding Pool, we should start off on Vision, so that's what we're going to do. Denial in hand. With Denial in hand, I'm even happier to... Firstly, we're going to bottom the Misty. Do we want Delver? Next turn, we have Snap Interaction plus Delver. Delver can stay on top. We're going to Shock with this. Yes, we're going to play Mandrills with the Stomping Ground, Delve 5. 1 Bauble. One of the lands is fine. Visions, Visions, and I might even delve away the other Bauble. Just because having access to Bolt and Forked Bolt, whichever is better, seems really good. I also don't really care about Delirium here. Artifacts in their graveyard going to make Goyf more than fine. We're going to hold up Dismember and Stubborn Denial. I like holding up Stubborn Denial here because we can hit a Cranial Plating. Here's an Etched Champion, that's going to be a problem. So they're going to go to combat. We're going to end up taking 1 off of the Signal Pest and the Ornithopter attacking. I think that's okay. We don't have enough removal that will actually be able to deal with the Etched Champion. I don't think. It's entirely possible that we untap, dismember something. This is a 0-1, correct? Yeah, it's a 0-1. That is very hard to discern the stats there. So that's fine. We're going to untap. We'll have access to 4 mana. That means we actually are able to Snap Bolt and Dismember here with our 4 mana. So we're going to attack with Mandrills. Mandrills isn't blocking anything here. If they decide to block it with the Etched Champion, we're going to do a little bit of a blowout. They don't, that's fine. In that case, we're just going to play Delver of Secrets. We need to get through their life total anyways, because if we let Affinity live for long enough, eventually we will die. It's a lot like a combo matchup in that way. Sooner, I mean, they have nigh infinite 1-1s, 0-1s, 0-2s. More 1-1s over here. Sooner or later, they're going to have dudes. That's fine. We're going to take some damage here. I believe we're going to dismember this Signal Pest. We're definitely not letting them attack with it because it represents almost as much damage as the Dismember is going to deal to us. The other thing we can do is play Snapcaster Mage and Lightning Bolt, which seems almost as good, given that, what's my line of thought here? It deals with Signal Pest just the same. There's another reason. It saves us life. We also end up with Snapcaster Mage on the battlefield, which I don't hate. It's extremely unlikely that the opponent is holding a Cranial Plating in hand, so I think that's fine. We're going to get a forest here. Snapcaster Mage. Forked Bolt also not really doing anything here. Not anything beyond what Lightning Bolt is doing, at least. Bolt. Let that resolve. Bolt, Signal Pest, red. I don't really care about the Ink Moth Nexus here. We're going to take a little bit of Infect. Ooh, they Galvanic Blasted Mandrills. That's not bad. We still have a decent clock, though. We're going to take 1, 2, 3 damage that we care about. They are swinging with the Nexus, which is interesting. Obviously, they don't care to swing with the Ornithopter. Delver transforming off of a Vapor Snag is quite good. Now the question remains, do I actually want to hold Delver back? And I feel like I don't. We have a lot of ways to interact here. I think I'd rather be attacking. We also don't have very good blocks. Mandrills being gone means Denial gets a lot worse. Then again, Denial only would have countered this Galv Blast, which means it would have just protected Mandrills. So I don't think that's actually a huge deal. Now, Dismember is looking really poor here. The opponent with 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts, the ability to animate 2 more. We're not dealing with Etch Champion. I may or may not want to Vapor Snag Blink Moth, but I think we're going to take 3. That's fine. I want to Vapor Snag offensively. I think that's going to be better for us. Also, if we top deck a Lightning Bolt or a Snapcaster Mage, we could end this game pretty quickly. Specifically if they elect to not block. Not that likely, but if they do, things will be good for us. We're going to take 3, go to 6. 2 turn clock for the opponent, 2 turn clock for us. We're attacking first. That bodes well. Drawing a Thought Scour bodes irrelevantly. I think we may as well just cast it now to see what happens, but Flooded Strand, not great. Milling, Snapcaster Mage, and Serum Visions. That hurts. Okay. I want to keep my blue up. I actually don't mind playing out this Flooded Strand because it means we have access to a second blue mana if we need it. The opponent could have Galvanic Blast at any time here, so I am very cautious of that. Here's an Ink Moth Nexus being animated. Looks like they don't have Galvanic Blast in hand. Once that comes alive, I kind of want to Vapor Snag it, but then they can just animate the other one with it. So that's less good. It's probably going to block the Snapcaster Mage, Ornithopter, Chumps, Delver. I think that's actually okay. Certainly not great. It's blocking Delver of Secrets. Okay. That's fine too. Delver gets a little smaller, but that's quite alright, I think. We're probably going to be forced into using this Vapor Snag defensively in this spot. The opponent with too many manlands to make it good on the offense. Arcbound Ravager basically means we lose. They just load up the Etched Champion, I think. They attack, yes. We do not block. Okay, so they're not loading up the champion. That's good for us. If we fetch here, we go down to 3. Being at 3, I don't think much different than being below 3. They have basically enough attackers. They can sack artifacts. I don't think it matters. Steam Vent's tapped. Snapcaster Mage going to do a bad job of attacking here. Lightning Bolt, very good. Okay. How do we win? Unfortunately, we weren't at 5 life because Dismember would have been amazing. Okay. So if we can figure out how to attack with both of these, Vapor Snag, potential blockers, and then Bolt Face, I think we're in an amazing spot. I don't think it's highly likely that happens, but that would be absolutely fantastic. So I think I want to attack with both. If we don't win the game right here, let's pretend we have blockers. They, at their convenience, they can just make Etched Champion large. We have to attack. They very well could have beaten us that turn, I believe. They were probably playing around something. So they're animating Blink Moth, and at this point, I think I want to Vapor Snag it. That means they have to block with Ornithopter, possibly Arcbound Ravager. I kind of like that. I'm going to go for it. That puts them down to 5. Either of these is lethal because of Lightning Bolt. They sacrifice it. Oh, Vapor Snag's going to fizzle. That's a bad beat. That's a bad beat. At least it's Blink Moth that was sacrificed. We can burn the Lightning Bolt, not dying, and still kind of be okay. They're not going to trade Arcbound Ravager for Snapcaster Mage. If they're blocking there, they're sacrificing another artifact. Delver gets blocked. Well, yeah, we can't stop it. I'm going to wish I had another Lightning Bolt in my hand, but we can't stop it. Dismember is showing itself to not be fantastic here. The opponent sacrificing more stuff to Ravager. Going down to 4 life. Very good on our opponent. That's for sure. And now we definitely lose because they have a lethal Ravager and a lethal champion. That's going to do it for game 1. Affinity, definitely not a good matchup for us. Here's another Ornithopter. Affinity's just a little too fast and too redundant for us to handle. Generally game 1, but also farther in. If we had a Snapcaster Mage to block, we could have dealt with this Arcbound Ravager, but I think then they can just load up an Ornithopter, and then we're not attacking, so then they can just do it with the Etched Champion, and they have more resources. So I don't think there was much we could do here. If we bolt Ravager, they just win anyways. So I think we're just going to let them win like this and not see the Lightning Bolt. I think that's marginally better. Let's go to the sideboard. Definitely gets better post-board. That's the wrong window. Please excuse that. Let's look here. Lots of stuff. Lots and lots of stuff. What are we bringing in? Artifact Hate. Lots of it. Sweepers, Mountain, Huntmaster. Mountain, Huntmaster, and Artifact Hate. Sweepers and Artifact Hate. More Artifact Hate. Ceremonious Rejection, very good against Etched Champion. The rest of our cards in the board don't really do much. Blood Moon is too tempo negative to be good. They do have a lot of manlands. It's just too slow. Bedlam Reveler, also very, very slow. Entrancing Melody, probably not worth it. I guess it would be good against an Ornithopter that's been loaded up with counters. We could theoretically, no, Cranial Plating. I'm gonna Google Cranial Plating really quickly just to see if that does what I think it does. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. So if they still control the Cranial Plating, and we steal the creature that's equipped with it, it's still massive. So that's definitely a consideration. I don't know if that's a reason to bring Melody in. Melody is very slow. It's something. Melody's probably good against Tezzerator. Darksteel Citadels that have been made 5/5s. I could roll with that. Flash Freeze counters Galvanic Blast. No real reason to bring it in. What are we going to take out? Oh, great sideboard. We're on the play. Ooh, look at that. There's a distinction. On the play, we're boarding out a Stubborn Denial to keep a Mana Leak instead. On the draw, Mana Leak being slower, definitely noticeable. What else? We're boarding out Disrupting Shoal. They don't have a lot of 1-drops. All the Scours, 3 Mandrills, and Nux. Did I miss Shoal? Did miss something. Mountain is going to help us take less damage, hit our land drops more easily. Artifact Hate going to help us interact with things that are difficult to interact against. Pyroclasm, basically the same. And Huntmaster, nice and mid-rangey. We want to be a mid-range deck in this matchup. We're cutting the Mandrills because they don't block well. They do attack pretty well. They don't block well, and clocking, not quite as important in this matchup. We're also cutting the Scours for more relevant interaction. So our graveyard's going to be a lot lighter. Disrupting Shoal, they don't have a lot of one-drops. Nux is slow. And Stubborn Denial, we're just cutting for more relevant interaction. We're going to be on the play with a very nice hand here. We're going to keep. And I actually might want to hold up Spell Snare here, just because good affinity hands tend to play a lot of cards. And often they're going to be able to ramp up into a very impactful 2-drop right away. So I think I'm just going to lead on a Flooded Strand and say go. 2 Lightning Bolts, very nice. Memnite. Ooh, Spire of Industry, nice add from Kaladesh. Or is that Aether? I don't actually know. Mox Opal. Here's a Signal Pass. Now they have enough artifacts to activate Mox Opal, and it looks like they're done. We're just gonna fetch Shock and bolt that Signal Pest, I think. Yeah. Yes. Yes. 90% sure yes. Okay. I had a brain fart, and I was not sure if I was supposed to pay Shock or not. Paying Shock seems like a good idea if we're trying to cast a spell. I was actually really hoping to top deck a blue source here so that we could go Delver, hold up, Spell Snare. As is, I think we're just going to use this Traverse. Help us hit our land drops, get an island. Pass it over to the opponent with a Spell Snare ready to go. Affinity's most important cards are 2-drops, Arcbound Ravager, Cranial Plating. The big bombs, Etch Champion and Master of Ethereum, that's its name, are 3 CMC, so you won't be able to snare them, but more often than not, Spell Snare is going to counter their payoff card, often leaving them with a bunch of 0 mana 1/1s. And O2s. Here's an Arcbound Ravager, let's counter it. No need to let them have something that impactful and turn on Mox Opal. That seems like a disaster for us. Instead, let's just not let it resolve. We go to 14, that's perfectly fine. Not great, but yes, perfectly fine. Delver versus Tarmogoyf. I think Goyf is clearly the more impactful play here. It's going to make Memnite have 0 good attacks. And it's also going to do a good job of putting the onus on the opponent here, given that it's a 5/6. Affinity helping to make our cards very big. Etch Champion is a problem. Memnite definitely can't attack now. This looks like a Vault Scourge. Okay. They're just floating mana and then sacrificing the tapped one. Arcbound Ravager. Spell Snare is very good in this matchup. You want to counter the 2 CMC spells. Disrupting Shoal, far worse, because the 1 CMC spells we're happier to let resolve. The opponent with 1, 2, 3 artifacts. Spire's not an artifact. These are both tapped. They have no way to generate mana. So what we're going to do here is play our Bauble. Swing with Tarmogoyf. If they decide to block it with Etch Champion, we bolt the Memnite. Etch Champion loses protection. And dies fighting the Goyf. Let's play Delver of Secrets and use the Bauble to transform it. If they draw cranial plating, we could be in trouble. Other than that, we're in a nice spot. They could race us with Nexi. That was a nice play. I'm proud of that. Serum Vision's on top. Let's make sure that Bauble hits the stack first. Delver going to trigger. Take a look at that Visions. Let our opponent know that we're going to be cantripping shortly. Draw the Visions off of Bauble. Draw for turn. And we're in an amazing spot. I'm very happy about this. We'll start on Visions. See what we can see. Pyroclasm looking a lot worse against a bunch of manlands. Put that on the bottom. Snapcaster Mage looking like pure fire. Oh, Snapcaster Mage with us about to draw it via Mishra's Bauble. Taking a look at their top card. It's a Galvanic Blast. Oh, geez. That makes me very happy. I'm not scared about the crackback, so I'm just going to get in there. They can trade their manlands for Delver. They can put some -1/-1 counters. If they put both counters on Goyf, they'll be able to Galv Blast it. That's perfectly fine. They take 5. They lose their extremely good threat. We draw Snapcaster Mage on their upkeep. This feels good. Upkeep. They draw Galv Blast. I like our spot. Do we want to do anything? We can Snap Traverse next turn. I think I just want to hold up Snap Snare. They're dead in 3 turns, so we don't exactly need more pressure. We don't even need to play the Mountain. We don't have a Denial in the bin, so they could double Galv Blast. Did they... 2 artifacts. They actually didn't have Metalcraft on. Sweet. Back to the sideboard. Oh, I am so bad at this. Okay. Match 4 of the current league. We're currently 2-1. I forgot in the first match. I forgot in the second match. I remembered in the third match because it followed the second match immediately. And now that I had like a 2-3 hour break before I was able to play again, I forgot for the fourth match. That's pretty funny. Anyways, we are 1-1. In the match, 2-1 in the league so far. What do we want to do here? On the draw, according to the almighty spreadsheet, we're supposed to board out a Mana Leak and board back in a Stubborn Denial. That's right here. Mana Leak's a little slow on the draw. Stubborn Denial obviously costs half the mana and is able to counter Cranial Plating much more easily. And that's the main reason I like doing that, because if we can counter a Cranial Plating, we're in a much better spot than if that plating resolves. Once plating resolves, literally every creature they have becomes a massive threat in succession. And it's pretty scary to face. Then again, we have Ancient Grudge, we have Destructive Revelry, so we have outs to it. We have Ceremonious Rejection to hope it just doesn't resolve. I wonder if I should just always have Mana Leak since I have Rejection anyways, but Rejection is kind of a better Mana Leak in this matchup anyways, so I guess Rejection is just better than Denial and Leak in most cases, unless we're hoping to hit a Galvanic Blast or a Thought Cast. We're on the draw here. 2 lands, Delver of Secrets, Ceremonious Rejection, Tarmogoyf, Mana Leak, Mishra's Bauble. I'm going to keep it. If the opponent has a busted Affinity start, we're in trouble. It looks like they have a busted Affinity start, so I'm going to assume we're in trouble. Thoughtseize, okay. Okay. A little more interactive. I would much rather see a Thoughtseize here take our Ceremonious Rejection than see a Cranial Plating. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'm pretty sure we just slam Delver. We're not really doing anything else here. To be fair, we could use the Bauble to look at our top card, or even theirs, and just hope that we draw a piece of interaction, but I mean, that seems sketchy. 2 Inkmoth Nexi for the opponent. Here's an Etched Champion, and we could be in some real trouble here. Etched Champion going to be very difficult to block. Memnite's going to get an easy point of damage because there's no way we're blocking that. And let's give this Delver roughly a 60% chance to transform. Hail, Lightning Bolt, Mishra's Bauble going to hit the stack first. Delver of Secrets trigger going to resolve. Yes, please. I will take that Lightning Bolt very happily. We're also just going to hold on to the Lightning Bolt, I think. Given that we have a Mana Leak in hand. Then again, they know about the Mana Leak, but that's just going to make them more happy to slam something if we do tap out. They know the Foothills, so I'm more inclined to play that. Let's pop out the Graveyards. What do we do here? I don't want to tap out. Our options aren't great. They're going to be able to hit us for 2 Infect a turn, as well as 2 regular damage. We're just hitting them for 3. I think we do have to attack with Delver, though. If we just keep it back to block Ink Moth, I don't think we're in a good spot. So I think we're just going to get aggressive. Not where we want to be, but basically where we have to be right now. We have Lightning Bolt, we have Mana Leak. 1 Memnite's fine. It's when they start playing Ravagers and Platings that I want to cast this Mana Leak. Ink Moth getting activated. We may end up having to bolt one of those. The opponent also can do a very good job of just swinging here, forcing us to use Lightning Bolt and then casting Plating. So I think I'm just going to take all of this. No blocks. And probably bolt on end step once they can no longer cast Cranial Plating. Sort of the same way you would fight Infect. We're definitely going to fetch. Double green actually is relevant because we have 2 green threats here. So I kind of want to get Stomping Ground, Breeding Pool. Then again, we might get Mountain. No, I don't think I need the Mountain. Do I want to bolt anything? I feel like that's not even great. Let's get the Stomping Ground. Do I shock or not? We bolt the Nexus. They have 1 fewer threat. We have 1 fewer piece of interaction. If we bolt the Nexus, that's 4 cards in the bin. Then we can fetch, play Mandrills. That's not bad. That's not bad. It's important that we can fetch, play Mandrills, and hold up Mana Leak. They don't know about either of these. I think we're fine with getting a Forest with this Foothills. Realistically, it doesn't matter which we play. Snapcaster Mage going to get worse since we're delving away the bin. I kind of actually want to hold Insectile Aberration back for this turn. Just because we have Mandrills on blocking duty to cover the ground. Aberration's going to cover the air. We'll Mana Leak any problem cards. And I think it's going to be a good time. Let's get a basic Forest. I want to keep the life total as healthy as I can. Then again, do I actually care about Inkmoth Nexus? Unless they resolve a Cranial Plating? We're much more likely to die from actual damage, so I think I attack with the Aberration. Granted, that means we can't block both Memnites, but I mean, whoop-de-doo, we're not blocking both Memnites. I can live with that. I think we're pretty likely to just get a basic Forest off of this Misty. Sorry, we have the basic Forest. Get the basic Island off of the Misty. Signal Pest is going to be a big pain, but I do think we need to let it resolve. Oh, that's going to be so bad for us, but they have so many cards that are worse. I can't put Mana Leak down dealing with that. They're going to swing for just 2? Why would they swing with the Memnite? Yeah, they have no reason to do that. That'd be silly. We're going to take 2 here. And from now on, Etched Champion will be dealing 3s. Yep. Pyroclasm is just fantastic, right? Yeah, Pyroclasm is just fantastic. It's debatable that we should have swung with Mandrills there, but then if they sniff out a sweeper, they can theoretically block it in such a way that it dies to Pyroclasm. And I don't want that to happen. Red, green. We lose Delver of Secrets, Insectile Aberration. They lose Signal Pest, Memnite, Memnite. Mandrills is a faster clock than Champion is. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. We're not going to play out the Goyf yet because I really want to hold on to this mana leak. Well, if they have a Galvanic Blast, we're probably using it. Okay. Quick question. How many artifacts do you have? 3. They have 3. So they're going to force us to tap out here. I don't really want to lose the Mandrills. Actually, do I care? We lose Mandrills. We take 2. We can counter anything scary. We play Goyf. I don't think I fight over this. I should not have fetched. Mandrills gets exiled. That's fine. I should have just attacked with it anyways. It wasn't blocking anyway, so that was silly. Then again, I did want it to stick around. And it was at least somewhat likely to die if I did attack. So I guess you can debate that it was right to keep it alive. We're going to take 2 here. We should have an extra red source. That's why fetching there was bad. Okay. We play 1 Goyf. That's without question. If we play the second Goyf, are we dead to plating? 1, 2... They tap 2 Opal and a land to play the plating. They tap another land to equip it. They can't attack and animate either of these, so they'll just have 4 artifacts on board. Yeah, plating doesn't kill us. Not yet. Ravager could be bad. I do like the idea of just playing these Goyfs and closing out the game before they draw whatever absolutely terrifying bomb they're going to draw, though. That seems like a good thing. How is it? What's the damage? It's a Darksteel Citadel. That is not damage. We're going to take 3. That's actually fantastic. It's a magic number that we take 3 because we're at 7. And that means we go to 4. They do not have lethal on the crackback. We swing with both Goyfs. They're forced to animate this Nexus to stay alive. If we have a Lightning Bolt, we win the game because we kill it before it blocks. Can I draw a Lightning Bolt? Vapor Snag. Not Dismember. Dismember is once again going to be very bad. I don't hate Dismember in the matchup because they do end up with big threats. Flooded Strand looks quite poor. Goyfs cannot block, so they may as well attack. They're going to trade the Inkmoth Nexus for life. I mean, when it's give up Inkmoth Nexus or die, you probably give up the Inkmoth Nexus. If they have another Blinkmoth we lose, they're paying costs. It's a Springleaf Drum. I'm not scared of that. That resolves. Now they have to hold back dudes to block the Goyfs, because if they don't block both, they're dead. We draw Tarfire. Oh, yeah. Guys, I think we got there. I think we got there. Slightly subpar plays. Some of those plays were actually quite fantastic, and I am exceedingly proud of those ones. I'm going to Tarfire this. Goyfs get bigger. Tribal. They scooped. That is a 2-1 win against Affinity. Not a good matchup for us, I would say. It does get better post-board. It might be favored post-board. Probably not too much because their fast draws are still basically unbeatable. But the fair Affinity draws we definitely have plenty of game against. We're probably something like moderately unfavored pre-board to like very unfavored, but realistically in matchup in Magic that's probably like 60-40, 65-35 for game 1. Whereas game 2 is probably like 50-50, 55-45 or something in our favor. So I don't think the matchup overall is good for us. Post-board, I do think we're in a good spot. And obviously, when you feel out when you're the beatdown, when you're not the beatdown, that's going to help a lot. We are now 3-1 in this league, very excitingly. after beating Affinity. Hopefully you all enjoyed that video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.